Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, daily update, but unfortunately, it would be without the Russians. Why? Because the Russians are slackers and I don't have their version of events. So I will use only the Ukrainian version of events. But it doesn't really matter because you take the opposite and that would be the Russian version of events. So I will have a Russian map though, that's provided by Sputnik, and I will use Ukrinform as the Ukrainian side. Let's start with the Ukrainians. And this is, as I said, from Ukrinform. It is from today, the 7th of August 2023. War update. Ukrainian forces repel enemy attacks in Kupiansk, Avdiivka sectors. Well, when they say repel, then attack, that means the other guys are trying to do something, right? How do you repel it? I will show you the Russian map where those Kupiansk and Avdiivka sectors are. And here it is. This is the Russian map from Sputnik. Kupiansk is located right here, right in the east of Ukraine, and Avdiivka right here at the bottom here. So this is the front where the Russians have been trying actually to conduct an offensive, big or not as big, and the Ukrainians were focused on this one right here with Zaporozhye, and it is Kherson, more in Zaporozhye, here trying to break the front in Melitopol and Berdyansk right here. This is the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant right here. This reservoir no more because they say the Russians blew up the Kakhovka dam, but I don't think it was them. So let's see. We have here the Kupiansk. And the Kupiansk front is here, and you got the Avdiivka, which is right here in the bottom. This is Avdiivka. Well, it's a bad shape right here for the Ukrainians, but hey, let's see what they claim. Ukraine's defense forces have successfully repelled attacks by Russian troops in the Kupiansk and Avdiivka sectors, with about 28 combat engagements recorded on the front line on Monday. According to Ukrinform, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said this in a situation update as of 1800 on Monday, August 7, so 6 p.m. In the Melitopol and Berdyansk sectors, this is the one that I mentioned, where the Ukrainians tried to break the front, their counteroffensive, which is right here, 1, 2. Remember, the Russians are here trying to break through, the Ukrainians are trying to break through here. So in the Melitopol and Berdyansk sectors, Ukraine's defense forces continue to conduct an offensive operation, entrenching themselves on the achieved lines and carrying out counter-battery measures. Well, these guys have to do intellectual and verbiage gymnastics here. Instead of saying we beat the shit out of them and we are advancing and they are running, they have to find all kind of we are entrenching ourselves in the achieved lines, carrying out counter-battery measures. Are you advancing? Okay, they conduct an offensive operation. Anyway, in the last 24 hours, Ukrainian aircraft launches 9 strikes on areas where Russian military personnel, weapons and hardware were concentrated. For their part, units of Ukrainian rocket forces and artillery hit 2 enemy command posts, an area of concentration of enemy personnel, weapons and military equipment, 5 artillery pieces, and a radar station. This is a general overview of it, and we have more here. In total, the Russian troops carried out 2 missile strikes, 33 airstrikes, as well as 50 MLRS attacks on the positions of the defense forces and populated areas. The General Staff said that the probability of the Russian carrying out missile and airstrikes on targets across Ukraine remain high. Now, they're going to start with Volyn and Polisa axis. The operational situation has not changed significantly. So they will start by having their little update, which they just completed it. And then they will start talking about the front starting in the north with nothing over here by Belarus. Then they will go here to Chernihiv. And then we'll go to Sumy and Kharkiv. And then we'll go here to the Donbass, which is Lugansk, Donetsk, and then Zaporozhye, and they will go to Kherson. And if something happened here, I will let you know, which the Russians just mentioned some drone attacks, or maybe helicopters or fighter jets. Nevertheless, they're going to talk about this area here, and then they're going to go here. So let's see, Ukrainians, what do you have? On the Sivereshchenya and Slobozhachnya axis, Russian troops shelled more than 25 settlements with mortars and artillery. And this is in Chernihiv, as per the Ukrainians, Chernihov by the Russians. So Chernihiv, Sumy region, and Kharkiv region. So there is the Russians, according to the Ukrainians, shelled 25 settlements in these three oblasts right here. The Russians don't say anything. The Russians say only this, the red one. But this is from the 4th. They either didn't update the date or the whole thing. But they were talking about this area. And now we're going to move into Luhansk, Donetsk. In the Kupiansk sector, where I already showed you, Ukrainian forces are on the defensive. That means the Russians are attacking here in Kupiansk, right here, this area. They successfully repelled Russian attacks near Sinkivka and north of Ivanivska in the Kharkiv region, as well as south of Novoselitsk in the Luhansk region. More than 10 settlements in this area of the front came under mortar and artillery fire, including about 6 settlements in the Kharkiv region. The invaders attacked in the Kharkiv region from aircraft, 1-2 areas. So they said, well, the Russians are trying to break the front here. And then going to move down, probably to Liman, which is south of Kupiansk. Liman is right here. And then we're going to move to Bakhmut, which is Artemovsk by the Russians. And then we're going to go, which is south of that, obviously. And then is right here. They don't show it anymore. This is Bakhmut right here. It's gone. And then they're going to talk about Avdiivka and Marinka. So let's see what the Ukrainians are saying. In the Limandar sector, which I mentioned, that's south of Kupiansk, the Russian army shelled 2 settlements in the Luhansk region and 3 settlements in Donetsk region with artillery. In the Bakhmut sector, the Russians conducted unsuccessful offensive actions near Avdiivka in Donetsk region and Druzhba and another settlement. More than 10 settlements came under enemy artillery fire. Now we move to Avdiivka sector. So we mentioned Kupiansk, then we went to Liman, then we went to Bakhmut, then we're going to go, Bakhmut used to be right here, but I don't even write it. And then we Avdiivka here, this area, and then we're going to go to Marinka. So in Avdiivka sector, under heavy fire from the invaders' aircraft and artillery, Ukraine's defense forces successfully repelled attacks in the Avdiivka area. And it says that some settlements in Donetsk region were hit by enemy artillery. Now we go to Marinka sector. Ukraine defense forces continue to hold back the advance of Russian troops in the Marinka area. There, the invaders launched an airstrike. So, what you need to take out of this is the Russians are trying to break the front. This area, and now it's turning to the Ukrainians. Let's see what they say here. In the Shakhtarsk sector, Russian troops launched an airstrike in the Donetsk region. They also fired artillery on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 region settlements in Donetsk region. In the Zaporozhye region, this is the counteroffensive or Ukrainian counteroffensive. The Russians conducted unsuccessful offensives. Okay, if you say so. In the Robotnya area of Zaporozhye region, with artillery attacking more than 10 settlements. In the Zaporozhye region and the Nikopol in the Dnipropetrovsk region. So, whoa, what's going on? The Western mass media tells us that here, in this Zaporozhye area, the Ukrainians are advancing, and this is what they do the best, the greatest attack right here. Melitopol and Berdyansk. Nothing by these guys that updated. The only thing that they said was at the beginning, if you remember, that whistle talk. Where is it? That I said, what the hell is going on right here? In the Melitopol and Berdyansk sectors, Ukraine's defense forces continue to conduct an offensive operation, entrenching themselves on the achieved lines and carrying out counter-battery measures. So this is what they said at the beginning. And then we go down here at the details, and we find out that actually the Russians are doing something. Right here, in the Zaporozhye region, the Russians conducted unsuccessful offensives. So the other guys are entrenched. Advance to the coast. All right, with artillery attacking. Okay, the invaders carried out strikes outside Hulyapilske, Malatokmachka, and Orkiv. I think all these things, if I remember correctly, are here. Malatokmachka, right here, this area. And now we're going to move with the Ukrainian update to Kherson, this area. Let's see what happened here. Remember, the Ukrainians bombarded one bridge here, right here, and the other bridge right here, these two bridges, and they were all very happy about it. They were civilian bridges, not military, but hey. In the Kherson sector, the Russian army launched an airstrike in Kherson region and fired artillery at more than 10 settlements in the Kherson region. That's it. So this is the update with nothing about that great, fantastic counteroffensive that these guys in the West are talking about. Because some media outlets here in the West are talking about, oh, you know what, these guys are still steadily advancing. Did you hear anything about Ukrainians advancing? I didn't. I heard about the Russians trying, and the other ones just entrenching themselves. Okay, whatever, you can't be an offensive every day, I guess, but that means your offensive stalled. It stalled from the first 3 or 4 days. It was done then. 2 months ago already. Well, that's the Ukrainian update. Not very optimistic view of the front coming from the Ukrainians, especially or including their so-called counteroffensive. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.